Well, hello there, friends. Welcome to the Memory Slot 8 podcast, where we don't talk about news anymore.
Season 2, baby.
Yeah. Things are changing. It's getting warm outside, and we're
warm inside.
We're getting warm. We're getting loose.
All warm and toasty up in here.
warm and toasty.
Oh.
Y'all
Oops,
don't make
sorry.
me. What?
Okay.
Sorry. What are you
No, I
talking
don't know.
about?
I don't
Good
know.
start.
I don't know what I'm
Good
talking
You don't
about.
know? Okay.
Okay.
That's the whole fun part about this.
We haven't done this in a while. This is new for us.
This is a new
Yeah.
thing. What are we doing?
We're gonna talk about a game
A game.
as opposed to games like we used to. We're gonna talk about a game. We're gonna mostly talk about one beloved game or one game that we all have in our
Or
history
one
that we
topic.
played, or one topic. But we're gonna start. We're gonna start with a game.
Yeah, it's centralized basically.
Yeah, instead of going through the news, we're going to go through stuff that we care a little bit more about. So
Yeah.
that's why we took our little break, and now we're back. We're back with this new format.
Yeah.
And today we picked something that is all very dear to our hearts. A game that a game series, but really specifically one game that became very big when we were becoming teens. That, of course,
Making us
is
sound old.
I know.
We
Well,
grew
it's true.
up-
Well, it's over 10 years old now, which is
It's true.
scary.
right.
It's a
It's crazy.
12-year-old video game. That is the truth.
12 years. Yep.
Wow.
It's
Are we basing
half my life years old. No, it's less than half, but it's almost half my life years old, which is crazy.
Yeah. I think it's like the first game that I have really fond memories of online. Like that's the game where everyone hopped on at the same time. And of course, if you don't know, we all grew up, went to high school in like the mid to late 2000s. So the game that we're talking about is none other than Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. The GOAT.
Oh,
The Holy Grail.
Yeah.
the holy grail of first-person shooters.
Honestly. I mean, I personally remember were we playing together back then?
Oh, no. I was late to the game. I was very late to the game. I didn't have a console until I didn't have a modern gen console until 2010. So I
Wow.
wasn't there with you.
I think you guys, Chris and Mark, I think you guys played on PS3, right? I never owned a PS3.
Yeah. Well,
We definitely played a couple times.
yeah. So I know for a fact that Chris and I and Rob all started playing together, like legitimately during Black Ops 1, but I first got Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare because Jonathan Rodriguez, someone we went to high school with, kept asking me every morning,
Really?
did you get Call of Duty 4 yet? And I was like, no, I didn't. And then one day I got it, and then I started playing with him, and then I know for a fact that I played some custom matches with Chris back in that time.
Yes.
But that was it for quite some time.
That was when your PlayStation name, I'm not going to give your current one away, but that was when your PlayStation name was Mark the Bomb.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yep.
Mark
It's
the
so
Bomb.
you. It's
Damn,
so
I remember that.
Because just a little backstory on that. It's just like
I used to really like bombs.
at the time,
Really?
I was
Wait,
a
is that
troubled
legit?
child.
at the time, I had no idea what to make my online presence be. So I don't know. I used to use that as a lot of my passwords for stuff. I was like, I guess that
Oof.
that
Really?
worked.
That sounds safe.
You know what?
Oh,
That's
look, I
fine.
shouldn't-
Listen,
really
when
make
you're
fun of you.
13 years old, you're not really thinking about that. And
I mean, I shouldn't make fun of you. I mean, my first name didn't even have my name in it. So, like, at least yours kind of sounds like you.
yeah, but
Well-
that name sucked.
The best names don't have your name in it.
Yeah, the best ones exactly do not.
Well, when
Yeah,
I got
but
a,
mine
when I
was
got
so
an
shit.
Xbox 360 and I made my first gamer tag, naive little baby me was like, I'll just use my first name, and I tried to just make it Mark, like MARC.
Did it work?
No, absolutely not,
Yeah.
because Xbox Live existed with the regular Xbox, and that already got taken. But then you know what, Mark? I can't make fun of you because my first actual gamer tag was Markster212, just
Oh
like
my
my
God.
AOL
Wow,
email
you two are
address.
kind of like two pits in a pod there. Two peas in a pod.
Yeah,
there.
I
Pits
mean-
in a pod.
Yeah, that made sense. I know.
You know what?
Well-
And looking back, I still don't think I would have come up with a better name at the time, regardless.
Yeah.
So, yeah, out of curiosity, Chris, what was yours? Since we're on this topic, I'm just
I mean,
curious now.
mine is the same as it currently is.
Really?
That was my first
Wow.
one, and I actually hate it. I hate my current name. I do. I really don't like it. I just thought I'm just gonna tell people what it is. Not like anyone's gonna. I mean, if you do, whatever. Let's be friends and play Destiny. I need friends to do to do the raids with. But anyway, it's Be Afraid 7-7, and like there are a couple things wrong with that. One is that like
You're not afraid?
First of all, like just thinking of that, I know I was like a 12-year-old kid, and I was like, "What can I say to intimidate people? Ha! Be afraid! Ha!" And then like, and then I stacked on a random number at the end, but now everyone thinks I'm like 45 because they think I'm 1977. And so like whenever I talk shit to people, they're like, "Yo, you're like 50, boy," and I'm like, "Oh God, no, I'm not." But like I can. How am I supposed to fight against that?
It's like 42 years old to everyone's
Yeah.
mind. Like,
Yeah.
he was born in 77. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, just fucking. So yeah, that was mine. But I have had a bunch of stupid. Like every once in a while, I'll think of one that I think is funny and clever, and like I'll make a fake email address just so I can take that name for future purposes. So like, I have one that's Nutsackajawea.
I remember that birthing of that one.
Yeah, no, that's me. That's me. I have Nutsackajawea. I have Draco Milfoy. I
But
also.
you see, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead,
I have one more. Fuck, what's the other one? Miyagi Wax Off. Like,
I thought that one was Mike's. I was gonna say that one.
I have all three of them. I have. Oh, and I also have Nuttin' Easy in the Taint.
Okay, that one's going far off the end.
No, it's a basketball reference. I made it for 2K.
Oh.
They say nothing easy in the paint, and I said nothing easy in the taint. I also had it tattooed on the back of my player in 2K, but that's a whole other story. So,
Gotcha. Well, but look, I mean, you made those names at least knowing that they were funny, as opposed to your original gamer tag, which you thought was really cool at the time, and now you look back at it and cringe.
But like
I mean,
I made like the really stupid immature ones when I was like 24, and I made the like really plain like boring one when I was like 14. So
it's
I kind of
backwards.
backwards there, but whatever.
I mean, at least yours had a little bit of like all of yours at least had a little bit of thought insofar as like it had your name.
I don't know. I don't really think you're giving at least me and Mark our first gamer tags. You're giving us way too much credit there. Those
I'm giving you a pass.
Those
Mine,
names
I think, is
suck.
probably
They suck.
well, mine I think was pretty bad. My first one was Nino 9264.
Nino.
You see, like again, yours at least all sound somewhat decent. Mine is just sort of like my birth year, and 64 for some reason, because they used to call me Rob 64 when I was a kid. I don't fucking know why.
Rob, is
So-
it still active?
Not anymore. It was an old AOL address. My very first email address was that. It's not active anymore.
Man.
The second one was World Newser. That one you guys.
Yep,
probably
I remember that.
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Don't
we used to
ask
play
that
on
one.
that
That one
back
hasn't
in the
been
day.
online in 45 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't even know what those names are. And my
Why
current
did
one
you
is...
change that one anyway?
Huh? Oh,
Why did
because
you
it
move
made
away
no
from it?
sense. Oh, which one? Nino or World Newser?
World Newser.
That one? Because I didn't understand why I made it. I stopped, I thought about it. I'm like, what about this? What about this in my persona actually makes sense? Like, what part of this name actually matches my persona? I
This
got
is
nothing to
not
do
the
with the
real
world, and I
me.
know nothing about the news. What's the
You're living in the world, man.
Yeah.
But
and
I have nothing
you
to do
are the
about the
news.
Well, sure, I could be if I do something radical enough, but I am not that person. Yeah, I have no idea what the point of it was. Oh, the main reason I left that account was because it was tied to it was a sub account, so I couldn't buy things on the PSN.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that was before you were allowed to separate it away from like a parental account. So
Yeah.
That
Yep.
screwed over so many people I know.
Uh-huh.
It sucks.
One bad thing, well, one of the many bad things about Sony's platform, anyway. But I digress. Yeah, we went on a tangent.
Yeah, I mean, but
It's fine.
they don't let you change the names
Annoying.
of your profile. So if you want, you have to create a new one. So
Yep.
dumb.
Yeah, really stupid. But I feel like with Call of Duty 4 though, I feel like we've had some. I don't even know if this was 4, but like I have some fond memories of that fucking game, and like specific things that happened in a game that I played 12 years ago. You know?
Yeah, it's funny. Obviously, the thing that is the most that sticks out the most is the multiplayer. But honestly, when I think back in that game, something that I remember a lot is a moment in the campaign, because FPS had campaigns back then, and it's when you're like in like a helicopter crash or something.
Oh yeah.
And then like a bomb goes off, and they make it so that your guy can't move very. You might be crawling or something, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the coolest fucking shit in the world." It was very well done for being whatever it was, like 2007 that it came out. Like
I mean,
that was well done little scene they did.
I would even say that entire campaign for that
Hell
game
yeah. Hell yeah.
is
so good.
is a real fond memory of it. I mean, you get the very first training mission, and they run you through that course. And let me just tell you something. And I'm not sure if you guys know this, but
do you have the
switching to your
fastest time?
Secondary is always faster than reloading.
Yep. And it's funny because 12 years later, we still say that same shit when we play first-person shooters. Or at least I do.
Yep.
Is it still true, though? Like, is that still true?
Oh,
Totally.
100%.
Totally.
100%.
I'm shocked. I'm legitimately shocked. I thought that didn't matter anymore.
I would say unless you're running Outlaw on whatever Destiny weapon you have, then it does, or Sleight of Hand Pro, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that old adage reigns true.
Yeah. And then you had people like characters like Soap and stuff.
Soap.
Legendary.
What the name is Soap anyway?
Fucking
Were your fruit
legendary.
killing skills remarkable?
Oh, amazing.
Amazing.
I mean, so let me just ask this. When you think about CoD4, do you think, well, I probably know the answer, but do you guys think more about its campaign or more about the multiplayer? The campaign was pretty like memorable in and of itself, simply because of references.
Really, where we were just talking, it was like,
oh, sorry.
No. Hey, don't.
It's like he didn't even listen to what I said.
Yeah, it's almost like he wasn't even.
I was about to say that's the same exact conversation.
Sorry. Look, I had to step out for a second. Okay, I'm sorry.
Jeez, it's almost like this guy doesn't want to listen to the conversation.
My son is not.
But we were just saying how the campaign was extraordinarily well done for a 2007 game, and
okay,
it's still fun to go back and play, because I did that a couple years ago. I went back and I played it, and it was a good time. There's a lot of fun missions in that game,
and it's decently long too, right?
Yeah.
Again, I haven't played it back to forward, but I was always told it was the longest, or one of the longest.
Did you play it forward to back at least?
I was waiting for that.
Because I remember, so again, I didn't have a console at the time of CoD4, but I had a console when Modern Warfare 2 came out. I remember I got a copy of Modern Warfare 2 early, and a lot of my friends were asking me, "Hey, is the campaign as long as Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty 4?" And it's just like, did it take you hours upon hours to complete? And it didn't. It was shorter, but it was just like, so CoD 4 is pretty long. That was the takeaway thought that I got from that.
Yeah, I feel like that was one of those. It was a game that, like, back then it was a different time. Your game was not going to survive off of online play. Like, that's not what most games were about at that point. Like, you needed to have a single player aspect to it. It was a completely different time.
It's
Then.
basically right before the flip around, right? Before,
Yeah.
like, because at that point, multiplayer became really important. Now no one gives a shit about the campaign.
Yeah, and like Call of Duty 4 had a huge hand in that. Like that was like
totally
the fucking game.
And
that and Halo, like crazy.
It's really insane because you look at the Call of Duty game that came right before that. There was Call of Duty 3, which was on both like PlayStation 2, PS3, Xbox 360, and that's your typical example of like a first-person shooter campaign, like a really long campaign with a multiplayer that didn't really quite feel very good. It's like you could play it, but you ranked up through the course of a match, and then after that, you went back to the first level after every match. Really weird, but Call of Duty 4, was the first Call of Duty to have a class-based, or a custom class-based multiplayer, and that shit was wild for the time.
Oh hell yeah!
Well, back in the day, I feel like if you were playing online shooters, you were either a Halo person or a Call of Duty person. They were very different games. And so I remember, because I always had an Xbox, I was playing Halo and I really liked that. But then when I saw like, oh, this other game lets you choose what stuff you want before you start playing, and I thought that was like such a crazy idea. And like had no, and basically like every other game after that let you do that. It like started that trend, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was always a part of things. I think we take it for now, like a lot of people now, or a lot of kids now, take it for granted that custom classes were,
not always
pretty,
a thing.
Yeah, they're remarkable for what they were. I think another thing that really caught my eye, or at least the way I remember it, is the fact that CoD4 was like one of the first-person shooters that didn't take place in some historical era and was a lot closer to modern times.
Absolutely.
Right? An M16, like, actual weapons that were used in current battlefields, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. It brought everything, like all the technology was recent and like real, and like
including the night vision goggles, which I assume no one.
Which for some reason you were always able to put on, but they never helped.
There was no reason to use them. There really wasn't.
I think there's
green filter.
There's one map in that game that takes place at night, and if you put the night vision goggles on, they make it even worse.
Yeah.
Wait, it makes it worse in the nighttime? But what? Why?
Because everything's fucking bright green.
Yeah.
They're supposed to help.
But it makes
it's hilarious.
Look the same color, and you lose shit really quickly because there's still like lights on the map, so it doesn't help you literally at all.
Yeah. I also thought it's so, like, I mean, I guess the only real reason to have that in the game is to taunt people after you like defuse the bomb and search and destroy.
Yes.
Like, that's the only reason.
While you're spinning around, you're flashing your goggles on and off, on and off, on and off.
So I mean,
before there were dances.
Before there were emotes, they were basically taunting with
there was teabagging and spinning around while you defuse the bomb.
Oh, the teabagging, yeah, that was like the big teabag moment. You're fucking defusing the bomb and then teabagging the body of the person that fucking planted it. Yeah, I used to do that all the time. It got me into so many fights.
What I think is an underrated thing that I loved. I think that a lot of people loved about the multiplayer, but it's like such a simple little thing. The fact that when you did certain things, a big yellow number would pop up on the screen. Like your plus 100 points, your plus 50
points,
whatever you did. Like that was, I think people like trying to think back to other games around that, again, like didn't really give you constant progression like that game did. And of course, again, another trend that I think that started was like every game gives you constant like beats you over the head with progression now, and
Yeah.
like back then it was like, oh man, I'm just playing a regular match and I killed someone, but I can immediately see how it's like affecting, like your level bar was always there and you always saw how close you were to leveling up. It's like those are like the little things that got its hooks in you, you know?
So
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because for the longest time while I was playing that game, I had no idea what the bar at the bottom of the screen meant. and then one day I was like, wait, why is it sometimes at the beginning and why is it sometimes at the end of the screen? And someone was like, that's your XP, dude. And I was like, wow, that's incredible.
Whoops.
So that's a thing. XP? Yeah.
But like this game, it took it to the next level, because even after you go through all of the fucking levels, you can reset everything and prestige it, and then do all of that shit over again. So the amount of hours that people would sink into that fucking game was ridiculous.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because as a young 14-year-old, I did do that.
Mark went all the way.
Did you get prestige
for hours?
I went all the way to prestige 10.
Holy shit, that is so many hours.
I made it. I had like 30 days played on that game because I fucking loved that game.
Yeah.
And it's the most tragic thing, because I went back to play it on the PS3 before it was remastered on the PS4. And I was like, let me give this a shot real quick, because I missed this game. So I did. And hacked lobbies everywhere.
Oh my god.
Oh
and
no. I know how this ends.
I got into a hacked lobby, and I hung around for a little bit too long. Don't know why I did, but before I know it,
You're hanging out with the wrong people.
That's right. That's what I was. And before I knew
the
it,
ultimate price.
I was prestige 1.
Oh my god.
They stole your
point that I was like,
Is that does that count as stolen valor? Can you is that a crime?
legitimately stolen
Yeah,
valor.
I mean it's actual, yeah.
Dude, all your history.
Mark, you're a war hero. We all remember. No one can steal your valor.
We all know it. Like, it may be gone from the servers, but it'll never be gone from our hearts.
What's funny about that, Mark, I had the opposite thing happen to me.
What? You're telling me you boosted yourself in a hacked lobby?
Yeah, I got to prestige 10 in a hacked lobby. But like, it had negative consequences though too, because they didn't only hack like your prestige level, but they fucking hacked your weapons, and like you couldn't change your preset classes after I got hacked. And like my main, like, I don't know how the fuck they did it, but my main weapon was a smoke grenade, and like I couldn't change that. I couldn't do anything about it. And
but do you get like you just chuck smoke grenades as your primary fire?
Popping smoke.
No, you don't even throw them. You just like have them in your hand and you're just like punching them at people. It was, I don't know what was happening, but
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. It just essentially broke that game for me on PS3, and like it stayed that way forever. Like it's probably still that way right now.
So I'm just curious, just talking about equipment. So again, a lot of what I say is going to be based off of my knowledge of Modern Warfare 2 but so for CoD4's attachments to their weapons, were they varied? Like, did you have anything outside of red dot, extended mags,
silencers?
Well, they didn't even have extended mags.
No, not even that.
It was red dot, suppressor, and ACOG scope. So it was. Oh, and assault rifles had grenade launchers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it was a lot less than I was imagining. Because I remember. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Another question I had, was this the first-person shooter you guys played? Just out of curiosity.
No.
No, I played Halo before that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a major Halo fan prior to playing this.
Same.
That
enough.
was the
Makes
first
sense.
one that I, that I would play online, because I didn't have an online one before that.
But you all have played shooters before, I suppose. Okay,
yeah.
Valid point. So with me, again, since I didn't have a console until about 2010, I didn't really understand shooters as a whole, really. So when I started playing Modern Warfare 2, which again I keep coming back to, I saw all these attachments and I didn't understand what made any of them good. And I just remembered that my very first favorite loadout was a Scar with an ACOG scope, and I thought that was the best.
God.
So it's just sort of like I was going to ask, how did you guys like figure out how to, get yourself acquainted with how a shooter works? But seeing as it wasn't your first shooter, the question's kind of irrelevant. You can answer it if you like.
To be honest, I think Call of Duty 4 taught me a lot about what kind of gamer I am, or I guess, or like what kind of roles I take in the games that I play. Because you had to be coordinated and smart about how you built your class. It had to like work for you. Because I'm not one of those people who could put on like a P90 and just like run around and kill everyone. I had to be more
rusher
strategic.
versus
yeah. So like I was like more of a M16 with a silencer, but then also UAV jammer, just like chill out and hold down a spot kind of person. But then you have Jesse who'd run around with like the fucking M4, M4 or whatever with the ACOG scope and just quick scope everyone. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah.
all for the quick scopes.
I'll say this in particular about Modern Warfare. It's just like in that game I was taught you put on stopping power.
Yeah.
And you never take stopping power off.
Yep.
So like there were some guns that didn't necessarily need stopping power. Like the M16 I think was a 3 burst, or was a 1 burst.
1 burst kill?
Like
Yeah.
pretty much no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And like the MP5 would drop people in 4 shots even without stopping power. But there's just something about having stopping power and feeling like every bullet was just the killing blow.
Yeah.
And I never took stopping power off, even though there were things like UAV jammer, which would serve nicely, or like Juggernaut.
Jug?
Don't even start with.
But you see, but you see, that was like one of the things that I know, like even I was aware of with CoD4. And so far as like perk 2 was always broken, because the idea was you have stopping power, which was meant to cancel out Jug. But if the other person's not using Jug, then stopping power becomes extremely powerful. Or you have someone that uses Jug and facing someone that doesn't have stopping power and they just never die. It's kind of broken in a sense, is it not?
Yeah, it is. But I also would say that Call of Duty 4 was still a game that you killed people quick. If you hit your shots, like they were dead. Like the other Call of Duty games, as they progressed, I'd hit someone with like 6 shots from an MP5 and like they wouldn't die. And I wouldn't understand why. If you hit someone with like 3-4 shots in Call of Duty 4, they're done. Really, really fast. Which I appreciated.
It's not really good to be on the receiving end of that, though, is it?
I mean, honestly, it just makes you play smarter. Like a lot of the older Call of Duties were just like, let's run off walls and like do crazy shit. And that game is like, no, you need to take that game slow or you're gonna die.
Fair enough.
Know? And I liked that about it. At least I don't know.
You know, I'm getting nostalgic, but not in a way that I'd actually want to revisit it again. But I'm getting nostalgic for the fact that back then, all those games ran on peer-to-peer connections, and it was just like sometimes someone with a bad internet connection would be the host.
Oh my god,
the game would be horrible. But sometimes you had bad internet and were the host, and you were just able to destroy.
You had host advantage.
Yep,
host advantage.
And that was the illest term that was always thrown around. Yeah. Oh man, I got that host advantage.
Yeah,
and that was also before a Call of Duty game had host migration, where they would actually be like, all right, the host is shit, let's find a better one. That wasn't the case. You either left that game or you tried to tough it out and hope you got to a 2-bar connection.
Yep. Oh my god. Dude, because everyone, you jump in the lobby and every single person in the game is, oh my god, the fucking hose. He's fucking screaming as you're skipping across each other's screen.
No, also, that's another thing. This doesn't happen anymore, where you can hear there's proximity voice chat with people on the other team, and you can hear the shit that they're saying.
No,
wait, CoD4 had proximity?
I don't think it did.
No, what it did, there was a perk in the 3rd slot that I guess they thought it would be a good idea to add. It was called eavesdrop, and
eavesdrop.
You could listen in to the other team's voice chat And
If you were
'Cause
close
that's
to
really
them,
useful.
and that was eventually put into, I think it was Black Ops 1. There was revenge chat or whatever. So you could hear the
Really?
guy.
I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
so when you killed someone, you could hear them start to curse, and it
Yeah.
was great.
Oh, yes. Yes. I do
That's
remember that.
hilarious.
I'd put that shit on when I was trolling people. Oh,
But
man.
you see, like, while it sounds great in practice to have a perk where you get to hear in the enemy conversations, in practice it means nothing because it's not like the other team is actually strategizing. Okay,
Well,
maybe
that's
they
not
add
true, though.
1%.
That's not true. Like,
If you're playing Search and Destroy, maybe.
people,
You could get people angry, which
Yeah,
makes
you
them
could-
bad.
Well, angry, yes. Strategizing, though?
No, totally. I remember hearing people were like, all right, like, I'm going, or like,
Wow.
definitely in search, but other modes too. Yeah.
People were smarter back then. Okay. I guess I took it for granted then.
I mean, I guess so, but when I think about it, the people that I played with a lot of time were like, "Hey, I'm going over to B. Hey, I'm gonna go plant the bomb." Like they say shit like that, and
Oh no! You know what I was thinking? I was thinking if you put that and played in a match like team deathmatch, which it's pointless.
I guess so.
If it's got no objective, what's the point?
I don't know.
Unless you're pointing out callouts, I guess. Okay, fine. I see your argument. It's valid.
Whatever. Anyway, I
But
feel
yeah,
like
I mean,
that's one of those that gets lost. That perk is just lost in the fray.
Well, that's because you had, steady aim, deep impact, and dead silence in that slot also. So
Yeah,
a bunch of stuff that, actually gives you an advantage in the game.
yeah.
you know,
Also,
ones that were actually actively useful.
getting the gold guns for every gun.
Oh
Oh
god.
my god.
I didn't
So-
do it, but I know people that did.
So yeah, back then there was a single weapon for each weapon class that got a gold camo, and it was the AK-47, the mini Uzi.
Oh, the fucking mini Uzi, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The M60, the Dragunov, and then one of the two shotguns that were in the game.
Wait,
and
what about the Gold
obviously
Deagle?
everybody
The gold deagle. dude.
got the gold Deagle once they hit 55.
Yeah.
Oh, the ultimate swag.
The comically large deagle.
Yes.
Yeah. Such big.
But also the overpowered deagle. The deagle
hell
was
yeah.
good in that game,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
2 shots, man.
Yeah.
And the recoil was somewhat manageable, or at least it wasn't as unrealistic or as
It
stupid
was like
as it was
fake
in other games.
recoil. Like the gun
Yeah.
would go back, but like you'd still shoot it down the sight. Like your bullet wouldn't go flying in the air if you try to shoot it again. You know?
Oh yeah, it's just visual. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it
just a
doesn't
visual
actually
thing.
affect the trajectory.
Uh-huh.
That wasn't really thought out.
And
Dude.
it's crazy because that was back in the time of like, there were three camos in the game, 5 camos in the game, plus the gold one. And it's like 2 of them were given to you. You got 1 for 25 headshots, 1 for 75 headshots, and 1 for 150 headshots. That's nice.
Yeah.
Very
like
simple
that.
to get. And then in the new games, you got, get 50 kills with no attachments on your weapon, get 50 kills with no perks on your class. And it's just like, how about you go back to the good times of just headshots?
I miss my red tiger and blue tiger.
Ah,
Yes.
Red Tiger.
So good.
Listen,
Tiger
I'll just
camos,
say,
man.
for some reason, I always thought that the red tiger camo was supposed to be white and red, but it's just red. It's just red on the black gun.
Yes, it's definitely just red. Yeah, man.
So could we also talk about like memorable maps from that game? Because I do know a lot of people have favorites. Right?
Shipment.
Oh
If
my
you don't
God.
remember Shipment, I mean, I feel bad for you.
If you've never 1v1'd in Shipment.
I mean, if you never sniped only in a 1v1 on Shipment
Listen,
to try
you're
and assert your dominance over someone else.
you're in the lobby, right? You just finish a match where you went off. Someone on the other team's in the lobby with you. They're talking shit. And you're like, you know what? Come see me on Shipment.
Yep.
1v1, snipers only, don't be a bitch. And that is how so many great rivalries started.
100%.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Have
Yeah.
you guys actually been in that situation? I'm just curious. Have you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
actually put yourself
Yeah,
in? Really?
absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I thought it was a joke.
No.
One v
It happens all
is
the
a
time,
meme.
man.
It's like a meme now, but
Yeah.
It was at one point a real thing. You'd be like, yo, 1v1. You'd like message the dude. And then you just
Yeah,
get
you
in
ain't
lobby
shit.
together. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay. Wow. I
Yeah.
did not know this. There is truth behind the meme. Okay. I'll take it for what it is.
Okay.
There was also Crash. I mean,
Well,
Crash is great.
Well, I'll just say this: Crash is good, but Winter Crash is better.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
and that was a PC exclusive until they remastered the game,
And then
which
brought
is
it to
crazy.
console.
And then they
Which
brought
Now
it
it
to
is console too.
So
I
Christmas.
mean, so, like, there's so many maps in that game, and there's none that I really despised. You know,
Nope.
like every game after that was like, oh, this map, I don't want to play this map. But this, I mean, like, you had Overgrown, which was your big sniper map.
Yep.
You had Pipeline, which was also kind of a big sniper map, but there's a lot of close quarters on that too.
Which one is Pipeline? I don't remember.
Pipeline's the one with the tunnels underneath. It's got the train in the back, the two big warehouses. It's raining.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I remember in one of the tunnels there was a wall that you can clip into, and that's what people would do in Search and Destroy. And then when someone would walk by, they'd crawl out and kill you.
Yep.
Did they
never
release DLC maps?
They did.
Yeah.
They did?
There was one DLC pack, and the
Just
maps,
one.
Yep, there's just one. It was $20. It had Chinatown, which was which was a fun map.
Wow, that's such a good map.
There was one called Creek, which was also pretty decent. It was a little bit small. It was like a smaller sniper map.
I liked Creek.
Then there was Broadcast, which was the like TV
Broadcast.
Oh my god, I totally
was the
forgot about
TV
that
studio from one of the missions in the story. And then they added like Shipment 2.0, which was Kill House. That was a fun map for 3v3.
I loved Kill House. That was a great map. It was like a warehouse.
Yeah.
So cool.
And it was like a shooting range almost.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of target practice shit all over the place.
Yeah, and like two little fucking like houses made of plywood on each side.
Yep. There was a sniper tower and like a bunker opposing each other.
Oh, I'm sorry if you mentioned this. What's the one where there's the statue of the guy?
That's
the Ferris
Showdown,
with
right?
the Ferris wheel.
Showdown. Yeah.
Oh no, the Ferris wheel. That's Block.
Yeah, that one I like that one.
Remastered game, is it?
It has to be. The remastered game has most of the maps, does it not?
It has.
All.
It's in there. It has all the maps except the DLC. You had to pay for those separately. Again,
I guess it just doesn't show up in the rotation very much.
Yeah, if there's one thing I've noticed since going back to Modern Warfare Remastered, is that it always seems to end up on the same few maps.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've never played in that. I haven't played in the one with the Ferris wheel, and I haven't played in that the fucking one they were just talking about. It's like all the apartment buildings and shit.
Block.
I've never played in that one in the remastered, and I loved that map.
So the map rotation typically looks like this: Crash, Countdown, Winter Crash, Bog, Beach Bog, Crash, Winter Crash,
Shipment,
Vacant, Shipment in 6v6 for some fucking reason.
Yeah, kill me.
But it's like you play the same maps over and over, and it's such a shame because there was so many good maps. Like Crossfire was a dope fucking map in that game.
Yeah.
Here's my question:
do you think people just downvote it, or
where the heck is Wetwork?
Wetwork, great map.
Wetwork is the one that takes place at night, where the night vision goggles.
Yeah, you're on the ship.
You're in the
help
ship.
You at all.
Yeah.
So Wetwork is good, but I always feel like it's very easy to flip spawn.
Yeah, I can see that. Because it's very linear, too. You can just run all the way front to back, right? Not a lot to keep you from accidentally triggering a spawn flip.
Yeah, that was a tough map because there was like there weren't many ways to get to the other side of the ship than to run straight through the middle and get to the other side of the ship. So it was very difficult to flank people in that game on that map. But
yeah, like the play was to get to the middle, run the outside route, and then come back in, and then you had to go back out.
Yeah.
So you could like get around one of those leveled platforms. Shit was dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good map though. And I like the aesthetic with the like the ship just in the middle of the ocean. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, in the rain.
Yeah, man.
Really, really fucking cool.
It's very
Man.
scenic. I agree.
Such a great game.
Yeah. So I think I may have played the least of this. Maybe me or Rob, I guess.
Yeah,
Since you
definitely.
got on it late, played the least of this. So I feel like I'm in a interesting position to kind of comment on how the game feels now, because I haven't played it since it came out, pretty much. And probably over 10 years. But we obviously played a couple of rounds together a couple weeks ago on the remaster version, because it is free. It was free last month.
Yep.
I guess
Yeah.
it's still free for like a couple more days. 'Cause it's the end of March, but we played it all together, and it is like pretty remarkable how well that shooting holds up.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
I mean,
Some
it just
games you
feels
can-
good, you know?
yeah, you can sense how much
It
they've
just
aged,
works.
but the God
Thanks,
damn it.
Todd.
But
Stop
you know
triggering
what?
him, Chris, Mark.
But in
Fucking
all
hell.
seriousness, that like control scheme, the systems, like the stuff that's like in the heart of that game, like that games still do the same exact shit, and it's like
Mhm.
it's still all there, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, all that really changed is the shininess of the visuals, right? If you get really down to the nitty gritty of how a shooter works, you can trace back a lot of it to CoD4. At least I like to believe so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that wrong to say, no?
And I think I honestly think, and maybe that's just because of like the generation of people playing the games now, but that game is so much cleaner and simpler than
Yeah.
a lot of games these days, and it makes it so accessible. At least in
Oh,
my
yeah.
opinion, it's just you don't get overwhelmed. It's just like, okay, I have this choice of like 15 guns, and they have XYZ attachments, and if I do well enough, I can get this cool red camo. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's the game.
It's funny because when you think about it, if you compare it to like the most modern COD, I guess I'm not really a good example of this because I've not played the most modern COD, but the most modern COD is just throwing all these perks and specialist stuff at you and all like almost way too much customization than you know really what to do with.
Yeah.
And it really makes you think
Loot
about when times were
boxes.
simpler, where
Yeah.
it's simple to just pick up a class and just gun.
Mhm.
But you know what's great about it? You can go play any of the new Call of Duty games and not be good. But you like as long as you played the like Call of Duty 4 at some point in your life, you can go back to it, and it's literally like riding a bike.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
hop back in, and it just everything feels so good, and the game handles so well that
Mhm.
usually if you died, it's because you didn't put yourself in the right position, not because someone was jetpacking all over the place.
Yeah. I also
Oh,
think
shots
I was
fired.
also thinking about this the other day. Like when we were playing and we were playing in like actual lobbies, I was realizing how much better I was, but a lot of it is because internet when this game came out back in the day, most people's internet fucking sucked.
Yeah.
I still
So-
had dial-up back
The
then. I
lag
still had
was
dial-up.
ridiculous. Like you used to be like, bullets turn corners. Like that shit used to be happen all the time, and I didn't notice any of it. Whoops, I dropped something. I didn't notice any of it when we played last week, and that was pretty great to see. I wasn't getting like the game is more beautiful now that it works as it was like intended to work 12 years ago. In my opinion,
I mean, even for what it was 12 years ago, even despite people's shitty internet, it was still somewhat functional on a basal level. And,
Yeah, totally.
that just goes to say that it was well structured to begin with. Yeah.
yeah, but I feel like I haven't felt. I used to feel severe pain when I would get killed from
Actual
someone
pain.
that hadn't turned the corner yet. Like,
Oh yeah,
like I used to be like, what the fuck? Like that game I used to want to like break my controller in half.
That makes sense too.
Because
and
the
those-
bullshit.
And those old PS3 controllers, they weren't the most
Oh, yeah.
they weren't the most sturdy controllers. So
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
You could
Definitely
snap
not
that in
Bad
half.
build quality.
Yeah, terrible.
It's
the
so crazy to
DualShock
think about
4s
the
are
old
so-
controller.
It is nice all these years later to be like, okay, this is like what all those little annoying things that made the game frustrating don't really have to exist anymore because of like a better internet. And it also, the up-res makes it look very nice, but
Mhm.
it is really cool how, basically if you take the bones of that game and then just applied like the modern way that game companies like nickel and dime their players, it's
Mhm.
like that could be a modern game like that comes out this year. It's
Yep.
basically
Yeah.
the same thing.
Mhm.
But then people will complain if you don't have any skins. Am I right?
Well, I'll just say this, and it's one of the only things that I really can say they did wrong with the remaster was all the extra cosmetic shit that they added
Oh,
into
yeah.
the game. So
Right.
not only did they add cosmetic shit, they also added new weapons
Yep.
to the game that weren't in it originally, and they lock those weapons behind completing collections of cosmetic shit.
Yep.
And it fucking sucks.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
But I mean, it's all completely optional, right?
But
Mm.
how are you gonna add new weapons and not let
pay to
everyone
win.
use them?
Pay to win.
Listen, it's like when a new Catgirl skin comes out in Fortnite. How do you not buy it? You just have to.
Well, one can argue that having a cat skin on can be distracting enough for people to actually die if they're distracted enough. I suppose. Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, save that for episode 2. Retrospective on Fortnite.
But it's not even that old. Actually, no, that's not a half bad
retired,
idea.
so
We are all
can-
retired.
we
Does that
can.
make it?
Retired.
No, but we shouldn't. We shouldn't.
Table that discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it.
I
keep it
have
back of
like
mind.
one last question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
After like, I'm hype that we have the complete remastered Call of Duty 4. And I'm glad that I can play this and play Prop Hunt and just be.
I mean,
bunch
that's a
of-
new one.
Also
that
not
we-
from the original
well,
game,
not
but
from
that's
the original,
awesome.
but it's so fucking cool that I don't
It's
care that
great.
they added it. But out of the rest of the Call of Duty games, which one would you want to see remade next?
2.
I mean,
Modern Warfare 2, not broken.
So here's what I'm gonna say. 2 is the most obvious answer
Yeah.
because it took the formula of Modern Warfare 1 and stretched its limitations more,
Mm-hmm.
and they added fucking 15 extra kill streaks and many weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And attachments.
But I mean, I don't know. Like I really had a really good time playing Black Ops 1.
Same.
Oh, yeah,
You
that's a
know?
good one.
Like
That's a
Great
good
game.
one.
That's
too.
the last one I really played. I don't think
Black Ops
I
1,
think
yeah.
after that came out, I stopped playing CODs. So
I
I
stopped
agree. I like
actively
that one.
caring. I agree with you, Mark, with the C. I actively stopped caring about Call of Duty past Black Ops 1. I played a few more afterwards, but Black Ops 1 was the last one I actually cared about. So
yeah,
I can hear you on that one.
Black
Black
Ops-
Ops 1 is just right.
It's like Treyarch. So the game, my choice would have been the game like Treyarch made before that, which was World at War.
World at War.
I
do that game
really-
justice.
Fuck with World at War. It's
So did I.
So good. And it like went back to the World War II, but it was really great. Like they took a lot from Call of Duty 4 and just put it back in the old time. And I loved that. And I thought it was mechanically the best Call of Duty game to date because it was fair. I feel like in Call of Duty 4, I didn't like some of the aim assists, but in this game, you really had to be a good shot or you would not hit the person. So my KD was through the roof. Yay.
I mean, two things. One, it still had MP40 jug, right?
I was gonna say MP40 jug with the dual mag would like to have a word with you.
That's like the meme of World at War. Even I knew that.
Wait, what?
The MP40 with the dual mag and
Jug.
using jug. That
Yeah.
like that's the thing. So like it still had, you know, its own MP5, you know.
Yes.
It still had its super OP weapon.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Right.
you actually needed to hit the person. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's hit like it's basically like the gunplay, like, you know, hitting people and, you know, because they're a little more hardy, right?
I felt like
Treyarch is always usually more hardy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I felt like in Call of Duty 4 when I aimed down my sights at someone, like my aim assist would help a little bit, and so I wouldn't have to be as accurate myself. I felt like in World at War that wasn't as present, so I actually needed to be on the person, but then therefore other people actually needed to be on me as well.
So it required a little bit of actual skill.
Yeah, exactly, which is why I like that game better. And I also like that there was mad glitches of people just floating in the air. I never got that.
You know what? That game didn't get its fair due because it came out right after Call of Duty 4, and everyone, I guess, expected it to be just like Call of Duty 4, but it was, you know, slightly
people
different.
Overlooked it because of that. Yep.
And then people played it for like a few months and then went right back to Call of Duty 4.
Yeah.
You know, Chris, I thought you just said that because it was the first entry that had zombies in it.
I mean,
that's another great point though, about that game, because they released, I mean, when that game came out, zombies was not a thing you could just play. You had to unlock it by beating the campaign.
Yeah.
Oh, so I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so when I got it, Jonathan was like, yo, you got to beat the campaign. We got to play zombies. And I was just like, I can't play zombies yet because I haven't beat it. And like, before I got the chance to beat the campaign, they realized, oh shit, everyone likes this zombies mode. And so they made it so you didn't have to complete the campaign. You could just jump right into zombies. And like Treyarch's games took such a huge turn after zombies blew up.
It's true.
Yep.
I mean, look at them.
They're much more fun. They're much more like silly and colorful than they were when it was just World War II. You know,
because they're no longer even Nazi zombies. You know, they don't have to be Nazis anymore.
Yeah, but like,
I mean, that just shows growth.
Strange concept. Like, throw a bunch of people in this random room with like this random area with zombies, and then have like these fucking soda machines that give them power ups.
Yeah.
Weird.
I mean, look at what it's become. You know, put people on the Titanic, put people and have them fight a giant George Romero. I mean, like, a whole bunch of crazy things you would never imagine, and yet somehow it just works.
Yeah,
and
it just works.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like maybe it's a conversation to have at a different time, but like you just look at the first zombies map that they give you, then everything that came after that, and it's amazing what they did with it.
Oh yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
agree.
The mystery box, so cool. The guns that they added, so cool. The Easter egg.
Ray gun, yeah, of course.
The Wunderwaffe.
Cool. Oh my god. Yeah, I could go on forever.
Of course we could.
For the next episode.
Yeah. I think we did great.
Yeah.
Man, we like Call of Duty. It's a shame that they killed the series.
Yeah. Old Call of Duty was GOAT. So much fun times. But yeah. So I guess we'll have to figure out what game we're gonna do next time.
Oh, I'm sure there are plenty we could delve into.
Yeah,
this is fun though. I think this will be great.
Let us know in the comment section below what kind of games you want us to talk about next week.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
We're gonna set up a Patreon real quick too.
Don't forget to check out our store. Buy our merch. We have bells and T-shirts.
Merch.
Yo, if we get people, I'll do. Merch.
Are you gonna sell your own track, Chris? Original soundtrack?
My own sound. You know what? I will. Say I won't.
Wow.
You won't.
Okay, I will. Cool.
Wow.
All right. So, Mark, is that going to do it for us this week?
Are you going to call the entire outro?
I mean, if no one else has anything else to say, then yes, that is going to do it for us this time on Memory Slot 8 Podcast Season 2.
Sure.
Now save
Season 2.
Season of the Drifter.
All right.
Hope you're proud.
What are you fighting today? Now saving. Don't turn off the.
Jack's on the field.